Good morning.
Good
Welcome to
morning. Good
FYI.
morning.
For your information, I am
Yeah.
Joetta Finance alongside Sharon Duncan. It is Wednesday, the 15th of
It is,
June,
believe it or not.
2022, guys.
Believe it or
And
not,
we
it
are
is.
off to a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning start. I think that,
Uh-huh.
Sharon, how are you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling a little under the weather,
Under the
but
weather.
we're going to persevere.
We're going to persevere.
We're going to do what we got to do. We're going to persevere.
Guys, let us know what is happening at your end. I don't know why my phone is just
There's a nasty flu going around, guys. You got to be very careful.
buzzing off.
Nasty flu.
The first thing person got to do is make sure that it is the flu.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think persons, if you're feeling flu symptoms and all of that, feeling fluish, just make sure you go and take your test to make sure that you're not COVID-19 positive. Actually, make sure that you take that test so you can just get that out of the way. And once you've done that, make sure that you are taking all your medication and all your boosters and so forth for the flu. So how have you been? Let us know.
How? Tell us. And let us know how
We're
you're
going to be in
receiving
the
our
comment
audio.
section pretty soon. I'd like to see what is going on at that end. But I know that I hope it has been a good morning for you guys so far.
Yeah.
As we do our bit over here, we're hoping that you're doing your bit there as well.
Correct. And for all those folks who are now joining us for the additional pages we've gone through too, welcome to FYI. Good to have you guys.
Welcome all to the additional platforms joining us right now. Welcome to FYI for your information.
I saw a little squeaky, Judah.
You sang a little squeaky?
Yep, a little squeaky. Good to see Sharon Alfonso and Wendy Thorne. I see Alexis Chambly and all the other folks. Welcome, guys. Really great to see you. And we love to spend this time with you guys. First thing in the morning. Couldn't ask for a better friends to share the morning with. Good to have each and every one of you. And oh God, I'm craving some coffee.
Craving some coffee.
Craving some coffee. However,
I think you said us a little earlier this morning.
Yes. However, we're gonna take it. Craving it.
I'm just gonna do some tea this morning.
Well, I have to follow you since nobody made me coffee. Judy, how are you feeling today? How are you feeling?
My day, it's a pretty good start for the day for me.
It's a pretty good start.
Yes,
we'll be happy about that.
I think that sometimes I'm a little bit, sometimes a little bit fretful and all of those things.
A little bit, sometimes.
as many human beings, sometimes a little bit fretful, and the persons closest to me have to indulge. But this morning,
somehow
I woke up bright.
Somehow I feel we aren't telling the whole story. Somehow. I'm
a little fretful at times, guys. Come on, who isn't? Come on, be honest.
Most of the times.
Be honest.
Most of the times.
Yeah, but it's good, it's good to encourage persons to be up early so that you can have all the morning, the fresh air in the morning.
Excellent. Margaret Nelson says South Carolina is in the house. Margaret, we're so privileged.
Yes.
You're here, Margaret. We're so privileged.
Edward in class.
Yeah. Welcome. I hope you head up. You didn't wait till the teacher come inside.
I think Edward was at the front of the class the last I checked. Diligent with his homework. And
Good. Warren Figueroa is here as well.
Hey, Warren, how are you doing?
And Warren is telling us that Canada is removing the vaccine mandate for international domestic flights.
Where to go, Canada? Where to go, Canada?
It's a long time I went to Canada.
Right?
It's a long time. Oh, Joy Hopkinson and Osmond Hodge, good to see all of you folks. Mayborn King, good to see you as well. And Shirley Crichton, good to have all of you guys here. A little extra.
You are very extra. I see you, Tommy Gibbs and Candy Nalini.
Tommy. How are you doing, Tommy?
Yes. Sharon knows everybody's business, so he knows exactly who these persons are. So Candy saying, my rich people, Candy, she has been diligent.
She thought it's a little short one, 2 times.
One and 2 times. But she did say she promises it's not going to happen again. So she's saying when she gets here.
All right. Marlene Thomas says she likes my colors. Judy, you don't see them comments. She said, Jarita, watch yourself.
I saw it now.
Watch yourself, Judy. She said, watch yourself.
What's wrong with my colors?
All right. And all of that. Good to have you guys. Wherever you guys are joining us from. Tess Isaacs, Grace Andy, good to see you on Pedalboard.
And Roxanne Aaron.
Not to be left out.
Yes.
Good to have you folks. Real privilege. Pull up a cup with us now, man. Bring a chair now.
I'm going to be drinking. I probably have to make more tea halfway.
Even if you guys want to sit on the floor, I love to go flat. I like
flat
to go
on the floor.
Yes. I don't know, it's my age or something. But I feel my age today.
Today?
Yeah. I'm feeling
How old is that?
Huh? I hear you. 4 and 2. Only. Only 43 at the end of the month, believe it or not. Thanking God for his goodness.
Oh, it's gonna be
Thanking God for his
23
grace.
at the end of the month.
23.
Yeah.
Wow, you're young yet in this business. Young yet. We got mold you up. Mold a child in the way that he should go. And the end, you're not going to depart. You're not going to run from it. Good to have you, Roxanne Aaron and Cecil Ogle,
I
Penelope
can't
Hudson.
leave.
I can. So how subjective these subjective names?
I can't. You missing a photo. I see. I can't have a
Yeah.
profile photo there. So
Yeah, we gotta check and see.
I gotta check it out. I
If
gotta
it's
check it out.
subjective or it's objective commentary, you know. I see Margaret saying that I want bottom on. Is it? I'm hearing it right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yep. Candy says she's having our coffee. Cheers to you, Candy. Cheers to you.
Bitter on the floor. You gotta read it right.
Yeah.
Bitter on the floor.
It's bitter on the floor. Okay. Great.
You gotta say it right. Not
Great.
Not
Guys,
bitter.
any of you have the flu out there?
Candace Joris
Or
is
flu symptoms?
there. Candace is saying sharing YouTube. Candace, it is on YouTube right now. Beatrice Selby. She said,
Candy's a tuber.
She shared on YouTube. I'm not
Candy's
sure.
a tuber.
Yeah.
Isan Duke is here. Good to have you, Isan. And Candy Joris.
Yeah.
All lovely people. Donna McDonald. Didi. Good to have you, Donna. Who else we have with us this morning?
I said, Candy, let's make sure that you say good morning to Quinn for
Yeah.
us this morning.
Mala is saying like a getty flu. Correct, Mala. True and correct.
Yeah.
Right? Flesh and blood.
He made very well sure that's what it was.
Flesh and blood did not reveal that to you, Mala. Flesh and blood. You're in the spirit. Can't even laugh with pains. You're in the spirit this morning. Yep. What we got in the morning papers? Let's give us something.
One of the things I saw and I want to touch on a bit is the.
You're literally touching it.
Yes, I'm literally touching
I want
it.
to touch
right
it
now.
for a bit. Literally touching it.
Because I want to look at the fact that a dredge owner dies after the mining pit collapses. And I want to touch on this specifically because this is not for a second turn. These things have been happening over time for years. And when it comes to caution and the way in which safety regulations within the mining sector, so it's particularly when it comes to gold mining, I think it is done. There's a lot of work that needs to be put into that to make sure that persons are safe. So it is no other than Joe Hamilton that heads the Ministry of Labor as is. And when it comes to occupational health and safety regulations altogether, these are things that needs to be looked into very keenly, especially in these areas in the mining sector, because a lot of persons have lost their lives because of that. Another thing that happens very, very frequently is, well, not very frequently, I don't think that's the right terminology, but one too many is the fact that a lot of times you hear a tree would fall on a mining camp or an individual killing that person. And all of those things, a lot of work needs to be done, as I'm saying, when it comes to occupational safety and health regulations, especially as it pertains to the mining industry, because a lot of lives can be saved if those things are those measures are put in place. And more so penalties, regular checks are done to make sure that those employees are working under the right conditions and circumstances altogether. But it's a very dangerous job.
In and of itself, and then if you do it callously, carelessly, recklessly, you only add to that.
Yeah, persons have the tendency, when persons are looking, gold miners particularly, they're going, and sometimes they're washing away the land, and even above them when they're looking, and they just keep going to the point that these very tragic accidents happen. So to the relatives, the family, I say sincere condolences, and to other persons, especially young people, a lot of young men working in the mining industry and up in the hinterland locations and all of that. Be very careful. Your life is worth more than a couple pennyweights of gold at the end of the day. So make sure that you can that you're careful altogether. Make sure that you're very, very careful.
Yep. Yes. A thousand person, as Rita said, with this family, a dangerous job in and of itself. And then again, if you don't operate according to industry standards, you can have some serious repercussions. The moment you slip, life gone with you. The moment you slip, you all know that more than the rest of us. As soon as you slip, they're gone with you. Good to have you folks here nonetheless. Those of you who are now joining us, welcome to FYI. We're on the morning papers. That's where we are. That's where we're at. Good to have you folks with us, wherever you're joining us from. Last you from in the diaspora, and we love that you guys tune in every morning and spend this time with us. I think I come for your presence more than anything else.
Yes, that is correct. And as we continue in the morning papers, we've been talking consistently about the robberies that have
Oh
been happening.
yes.
This is
Oh
something that
yes.
it's a sore issue for Guyana right now.
Yeah.
We don't want to become a country in which that's what defined us. You can't walk in peace on the road. You can't wear jewelry. You can't have your cell phone out in your hand. That should not define us as a country. We have to do better altogether. And I say we have to break down the system of corruption
Correct.
and make sure that the crime circle is completely dismantled so that persons, you and I, and our children could be free to walk and to actually have a social life
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
having to be to fear persons sticking you up and all that. I'm seeing in the morning papers as I speak, I'm seeing gunman robs street and escapes in couple's car. Police recover vehicle hours after. It's becoming too consistent. It
Yeah.
is becoming way too consistent that persons are just out there. Like I said, on yesterday's program, broad daylight, robbing
The
persons.
brazenness, the
Brazenness. That
boldness.
is the right word.
You know,
Brazenness of it.
that's it. That's a challenge, and we're going to be talking about incident quite recently in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying it's an excuse for people to go and rob, but it might tell what is happening in the large economy. The kind of, again, the brazenness you're seeing.
Yeah.
You know, them boys come in, them boys thirsty, and they come in, and we gotta be careful. And you know, those who at the level who can make a difference, the policy level and so on, they gotta go about and do that, make a difference. Leadership has to make a difference. You know, leadership has to get things done. I hear too many excuses. And when we come to talk about Daisuko, the foreshadowing for the big issue this morning, we can talk about that. Leadership got to lead, but all you're hearing is a lot of excuses.
Yeah, that's
You know,
true.
flinging money at the problem and hoping it goes away is not leadership. And Daisuko is a prime example, right? Flinging money at the problem and hoping somehow, you know, it goes away. You know, and you were talking, Judy, yesterday morning so much about the kids and the school system and so on, you know. And there's some parents who believe, oh, if my child goes to some school that has a fancy name,
Yeah.
you know, that can make them good people, right? But if you
I
don't
went to
put in
3
the
months.
work,
Bartica Secondary, as a matter of fact. That's what I went to.
if you don't put in the work, you won't get the result.
Yeah.
And we see too much of people throwing money at the problem and hoping to fix it. Throw money at the private school, you know, 400,000 a year you gotta pay. If this child gonna come out nice. You throw money at the economy, scatter shots, and you hope that hoping to God something works, you know.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality that we are seeing, and that's the challenge we have. You got a lot of square pegs in round holes, and that's why we aren't seeing any meaningful decrease, mitigation in the spiraling crime. Right? Them boys come out and say 31% drop in serious crimes. I don't know which country they're living in. It boggles the mind. Which country they're living in. Yesterday morning, we called out several. And that only was one paper. Several robberies.
But people need to understand when they and it's important. I'm glad you brought it up. People need to understand. I think I'm going to do some my own bit of research on this so we can bring it probably tomorrow morning. The categories that the police how they categorize crime altogether and what they put as serious crime as against petty crime and all of that. Somebody snatching your cell phone is not categorized as a serious crime. So like there's a whole lot of differentiation in the way in which the statistic is crafted because of the categorization of crime.
Yeah,
altogether.
and I think I heard Paul Slow, our brother, I think I heard him raise this very issue about how crime is categorized and that we're not capturing some grave stuff that happening.
Yes, correct.
The
majority, and persons would, and it needs to be looked at. I think that there needs to be work put into that to fix that system because when you go out there, like you rightly saying, you hear 31% decrease in serious crime. You wonder, like, what are these people talking about?
Yeah,
when you can't even walk properly, safely on the streets, you know?
Yeah. And we got a story coming out of Jamaica we're going to share with you guys in a little bit.
Very soon. I know one of the things that's on the morning papers, on the front page on the morning paper, is the fact that the top cop says he was unaware of the police trailing Mr. Norton leader of the opposition. I know we have it in the discussion at our local level, but that's one of the things that's front and center on all of the morning papers.
We come in there. Folks, I'm feeling when I still out here fighting
Yeah.
You understand me? Yesterday morning, I was feeling so terrible. Right on the show here, I
Mhm.
I was remarking to Drita after the show, and she was talking like I wasn't kind of gelling what she. I wasn't trying. I didn't know what she was saying. I was just hearing a lot
Words.
of words, you know. But we out here, we gotta fight. Sickness can't
Are
hold
you
me.
gelling today?
Yeah, I ain't gelling too much. But we,
You gotta do.
if
You
you see a
gotta
look, if
say
you
a
see a look a
little.
little spaced out, it's not the molly or popping, Rita. It's the little flu going busy. Right? It's not the molly popping.
You
I
sure?
had to terror flu, and that's about it. But we have anything else in
Terraflu
mind,
doesn't
people?
work. You have to let my mother make something. I
I
don't.
want
God
getting
knows what it
no
is.
problem with the
But
company
I'm telling you,
by saying that publicly. I want the
I withdraw those comments based on sound advice being given here from my colleagues.
I
That
I want
Terraflu doesn't work for me.
I
You see, that was
much
good.
better, much
No,
better.
I usually just resort to the basic things like
Yeah.
Panadols. I always have two Panadols on me no matter where I
Mhm.
go. If I feel those little symptoms. Oh, an emergency is something that I just throw in a bottle of water, shake it up, and drink it, and I'm good to go.
I just kind of wait through the storm, you know, understand the
But
fact.
Terraflu works for you. See,
I am
level playing field.
I got some challenges with acetaminophen.
Mhm.
And so I always gotta look
With
and
what?
see acetaminophen. It's a base drug in like ibuprofen and so on.
Okay, okay.
So I always gotta look and see. I
You
think
see, I'm gonna pretend I know what this is.
she feeling spaced though. You see
Mhm.
that? What else we got?
I'm
What
gonna
else we
pretend
got?
I know what this is along with you guys.
Yeah.
So-
Acetaminophen, I think it's a base drug as far as I know, in lots of painkillers and so
I
on.
thought today communication studies.
Acetaminophen. So you drink 1, 2 tablets and they start breaking out in hives and so on. You can get okay with acetaminophen and so on. You know, and the moxilin and so forth.
Okay, well, I
You
know
get
about
okay,
this, but
your skin starts scratching, you see some we call it
not
whales.
as that
Some
mycin you were talking about.
some no, I said it's not the that one is not the antibiotic.
Yeah,
No, it's
not
not.
that. Okay. Yeah.
Folks,
I just wanna,
folks,
you
y'all
see, Beatrice, thank you,
don't follow us.
Beatrice. Ginger, lemon,
Yeah.
honey, turmeric, rub up with Vicks.
Isn't turmeric curry?
How turmeric is not curry.
What is turmeric?
Turmeric is way different. It looks, it has that rich color.
It's
that
curry.
but it's not curry. My goodness. Why would you think turmeric is curry?
Turmeric. Isn't it part of how curry is made? Turmeric?
I never made curry, Sharon.
I think turmeric is in curry. Am I right, folks? I don't know. I don't mind being wrong at all. You know, but good to see and Warren. Warren says honey, lemon, and some peppermint. You could tell Warren is old school. You see that?
You see, Warren.
My mother was throwing some shilling oil.
I trust Warren. My grandfather always had shilling oil.
My mother
My
believe in shilling oil.
My grandfather.
You got had problems
on
shilling
a
oil.
monthly basis.
You got big foot shilling oil.
In his 70s, my grandfather
Yeah.
would go and collect his pension. He
Yeah.
doesn't come home without
But you
shilling
know
oil.
what? I'm
Every
so
single
amazed.
month.
I'm so amazed. You know, kudos to people who make shilling oil. First thing, how they get it in a,
It's
you see,
not-
it's in
I think
painkillers,
that's-
acetaminophen.
Okay.
It's in painkillers. It's in most, it's like a base drug in painkillers.
Okay.
That, I don't know how to get it in that little bottle. That's number one.
Mhm.
And that bottle has not changed
For you.
since I was like 0.
That's locally mild?
No,
that's
no,
not.
it
That's
comes
not.
from, I think it's made in China.
No, but
Like everything else.
important to know, you know, pharmaceuticals here in Guyana.
Marlon says yes. Somebody saying yes, it is, Sharon. I think candy, turmeric.
Okay.
Right?
Great.
Turmeric is also good for diabetes.
Thank you for good.
Well, if turmeric goes for diabetes and it's in curry, me ain't got no problems. I cure it.
Everybody confirms turmeric has curry has turmeric.
Mhm,
Turmeric
mhm.
is in curry.
Now let's plug the one out of tin here.
Yeah, you just make sense of the color.
Yeah. Once a broken clock, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Twice a day.
You know. So what else we got? Thanks, folks. Thanks. I am the shopping side.
Yeah. So Cheryl should be good in this new tomorrow with all advice.
Yeah. Honey and lemon. Look, high wine. I like this one. And Marlene, you want to talk about my secrets? You know, not much of a drinker. You want to talk about my secrets? I want all. I want turmeric, lemon, high wine. What is it? Some ginger and so on. Right?
Oh my goodness.
Georgia, you said your mother made you something. What was that?
My mother always puts ginger and lime and honey and all sorts of nonsense together and boil it up and forces me to drink it. And
My
I can't say
mother-in-law-
anything. I have to just
My
drink
mother-in-law
it.
always has a little concoction. And I got to stay sweet with this woman because it's just by faith, like Moses crossed the Red Sea.
Yes.
When you get a little something in a bottle, and she said, drink it. You're going to stay sweet with your mother-in-law.
You know, I tried
by
giving
faith.
I tried giving John one of these things once, and I don't
He
know.
even had
I
it.
didn't think he
Yeah.
had it.
Yeah. My mother doesn't believe in bush. She said bush ain't got dose.
Oh,
And
those.
being a medical person, bush ain't got dose. You just
You
buy
just drink it.
buy a drink
If it knock you
to your
out,
heart's
it knock you
content.
out.
That's it. That's it. You know, Guyanese are resilient. You know, Guyanese are resilient. You know, I once heard a story that a relative. Let me say it like this. Some friend I was giving she a bush and she boil and get the kids. And one time they weren't having it, you know, and she was very thing. You got to drink it. And so when she drank the thing, she realized why the children drink it, it was bitter like God.
Oh wow.
You know, so
Which
somebody
one
come and
is that?
say, get them this, warm them out and ting them out.
Sweet brew?
You know, I don't know what it was. I know it's something,
Sun bitter
but
sweet brew.
something.
Come
You know,
on.
we have like that, and that's one of the problems we have. And we were saying.
I've had those things numerous times.
I'm not saying that was it. I'm just saying it was a
Okay.
bush.
Okay.
Somebody else giving her a bush and she would give the kids and so on.
No, I don't
But
drink
this one,
anything to do
this
like
one
that.
time, the kids weren't having it, and then when she tasted it, she realized, you know what, this thing isn't too.
Sun bitter.
Don't come around with
sweet brew.
funny.
I actually like those things. Yes, that's one of the things my mother used Karen Clark with garlic. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was in a medical facility recently, and I saw they have a reasonable price. When we were talking about a physical examination, I'm at an age I need a physical examination to give myself a clean bill of health or whatever it is. It is. But the point I wanted to make on that is that we self-diagnose too much
Yeah,
as
too
a
many
people.
times. Yeah.
Too much. Your neck back hurting, oh, it's the pressure. You're gonna take something.
Yeah.
You know, your foot hurting, oh, it's you put on a socks. Right? we self-diagnose. We're the art and the finisher of our own faith. You know, and too often, much too often, when something happens, when we catch something, it's too late, you know, because again, we take too long. We get a bumper in your hand, you put it off, you put it off, you put it off. Next thing you know, something huge, and it's too late by the time then. So we got to be a little more careful with our health and move forward.
That is true. That is very, very true.
Move forward. Go ahead, Jude. Anytime now.
Yeah. Yeah, as I move forward, you know, I just want to mention something that I was looking at this morning that I was taking off of Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera was talking a very, very serious headline there, and it says 80% of Gaza children suffering depression after 15 years of blockade. 80% of Gaza children suffer from a depression after 15 years of. And when you think about this, right, I it captured my attention because of recent, you know, the world has been engulfed with a conversation when it comes to the war in Ukraine. And then everyone suddenly forgot that there has been an ongoing war.
There are other
forever
conflicts. There are other conflicts.
in Gaza, for example. And these things have just been, you know, the consistency and the length of it has pushing it as though it's a normalcy for these countries. And now you have the children that lives there, you know, 80% of those children suffering from depression. Very, very serious. And I don't want, and I see again the move and especially the shift when it comes to media from reporting, even the war in Ukraine as is right now. It's seldom getting the attention that it started with at the very beginning, and other issues have overtaken this very reporting on what is going on in Ukraine. And I have this concern that it's going to become a case as that of Gaza, and it's just pushed to the back burner.
But I'm happy that it's being studied, and it's one of the things we don't do a lot here at all, and that we perhaps have to. We don't do a lot of studies. Them boys don't like studies.
No.
They don't like environmental impact assessment. They like books and so on, bravado and propaganda and so on. That's their thing. But we have to do more studies. And I think we can extrapolate from that a lot of things. Think about the outlook of a child who wakes up every day and you hear bombing, you hear shooting, and so on. You get acclimatized to that. You know, that's not a natural thing. Every day you wake up and it's fighting, you know, killing right outside your window. That does something to you, you know. And I'm thankful that we got a lot of problems as a country, but we don't have a lot of problems here that some other people have. But we have some we need to take care of. Imagine how children grow up if every day you wake up in a house and people cussing. People don't even tell each other good morning. You just wake up and you just grunt and you're gone, right? You know, so there's a lot of stuff that we could do too that has an impact on children indirectly. And we talk about learning by default, right? You have all the bomb dropping left, right, and center every day of your life,
Yeah.
right? Some of that seeps into your blood, and you understand why people hate people who looking just like them.
Yeah.
If you go to Gaza and them place, you don't know. You look like Shakira. You don't know Hittite from Tutsis. If you go to Gaza,
Seriously, sure.
but even there, even in that
Hutus.
African experience, if you look at people naturally, I mean, they know the distinction. They say some people are shorter, that some people are tall, people from this region, and so on. But we look the same, and the things we're killing each other for is just mind-boggling. But you wake up to that every day. You wake up every day to people cussing, fighting,
It's leadership.
telling you're no good.
It's leadership. You look
right.
People look to leadership.
Yeah, and they can be
People look
leadership in the home.
No, but people look to, with those issues, people look to national leadership
Correct.
for direction.
Correct.
And that is what you were saying.
That sets the tone.
And exactly
that sets the
what
tone.
you just mentioned between Hutu and Tutsis in Rwanda,
Yeah.
that situation there, that was for me, I'm looking at persons and I cannot distinguish between
but
the
people
two.
fight each
but
other.
they distinguish to the point of killing each other.
Yeah.
Because of very, very minute differences.
And it's something we've been talking about here, We've been talking about healing and reconciliation, but we ain't really pushing in this direction in any meaningful way. And, that being said, we got a lot of work to do to move this country forward. And you and I were talking, we were looking at the young man who was just elevated to the commander of that unit in Arkansas. And one of the things we noticed that his son is in the army as well. And we were talking about how perhaps a successful family replicates itself in successful children, and how dysfunction begets dysfunction. And we got to think about these things, And if we allow only the people who profess to be leaders to set the tone, we're in a bad way. We're in a very bad way. We're in a bad way. And so I think we all have to take that ownership on ourselves. And you talk about it a lot. The kind of kids you're going to raise, what your values are going to be. We can't let Skeng set it.
Yeah.
You can't let Skeng set the value for your children.
Influencers today, the magnitude of influencers out there that is within your children's ear and all of those things, it's unbelievable. You would not imagine it. And that's why I've decided to keep reminding people that you cannot today in 2022 use the 1960s methodologies, because the issues that are today did not exist in the 1960s. I know a lot of persons love to come and say, oh, it's because we're not doing this. Oh, it's because no, that is not so. That is not so, because the issues that you're fighting today did not even exist back then. So you have to be very innovative in the way in which you're dealing with things right now.
And I agree with you, and we got to be, final thing I'll say on this issue here, is that we got to be so much more of a presence to our children, so much more. I want Skeng them to be the best that they can be. Write the music and do what they got to do it. Your kids don't have to listen to it.
Yeah.
Right? They want to write the music. Write your music. Do what you want to do. Me got no problem with that. I can do a lot of things I got to do. Me want people got too much issues with neither. But you got to fight. We always talk about that. Fight for your kids. You can imagine children going to school every day. And you got to lock up in the ears. We can talk about some of that skeleton line part secondary. Lock up in the ears whole day. Molly pop, 100 strap. Every day. You hearing that? You vex anybody cross your path getting lashed, Anybody cross your path getting lashed. Right? 100 strap right now. Anybody get me vex.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's not only germane to here. See, happening in lots of other places too. But we coming down to line parts.
Yeah. We will get to that point. We will get to that point.
We are, Juita.
I want us to go to the regional front. If we can go to the regional front. Very interesting bit coming. Let's start off from the fact of Trinidad Law Association.
So we aren't going from the international.
No, my dear. I think we just touched on the international.
I wanted to talk about some of these boys here, but
I think you should. I think you should,
story,
because I was just talking about the international news with Al Jazeera and what is going on there.
So this is what we're talking about.
Yes.
This is what we're talking about. This is William Barr. He used to be the attorney general for Donald Trump, and he did a lot of quirky things. He was one of those. Well, he followed Trump, so he was one of those weird ones. He came in as attorney general, I think, mid-course, and he rallied out to the end. But he had a little crazy streak, William Barr. they're now saying that they, called out Trump on lots of his action pertaining to the insurrection on Capitol Hill. That's what they refer to by January 6th. That's infamous day in American history. And they say that Trump ignored their doubts about election fraud. Remember, Trump was convinced that there was election fraud. And it is through his rantings and ramblings, people stormed the Capitol. Right? It is through that. The difference with Trump and us is that Trump didn't have any evidence when he went to court. Mm-hmm. That's the difference with us and Trump as countries. Trump didn't have no evidence when he went to court. We got the evidence. Yeah. The other thing that is startling, Trump, William Barr, what was the other one? The Secretary of State, Pompeo, prevailed
Mike Pompeo
upon the authorities locally to step aside and let the little boy pass, as Mighty Rebel said. And we know what was the result of that. You had all these statements coming out about democracy and this and that. Democracy to me seems to have different meanings to different people at different times. Because here was Trump trying to rig his own elections. Supported by Barr at one point, I dare say, and also by Mike Pompeo. I heard Mike Pompeo stood in a briefing and said Trump is going to be the next president.
Yeah.
Irrespective of all of the evidence we saw, right? Or didn't see, pertaining to rigging. And now William Barr, Trump's former AG, is saying that they told him. Some strong language is even used in the report. This is crazy stuff. William Barr said it's BS. He told Trump that what you're saying here about fraud is BS.
Yeah.
We don't have any evidence of that. The difference with us, we got them ballot boxes, as Ganesh was articulating on our program last evening, without statutory documents and so on and so on and so on. So quite interesting. The Americans reflect on that day, that infamous day, January 16th. And we ought to have, as Guyanese people, remember that day with the storming of the GCOM Hatfield Street location. I'm looking for some video that was out there that showed people walking through GCOM's head office, pulling out flash drives, opening drawers, removing documents. All of that transpired at GCOM. That alone needs to have its own commission of inquiry. And the final thing I'll see here, Jack Joe recently said that the commission of inquiry they said they would have had into the 2020 elections, they're no longer going to have it because, according to him, APNU is not going to show up. Why do you need us?
Yeah.
Right? They had a whole commission of inquiry into the Walter Rodney killing, and rightfully so. You're involved with who going to show up, right? But they know what is going to come out of it, and that is why they're now pulling back from that. The same people who go to every international forum and talk about, what was at stake in the last election, how close they came to dictatorship, all that. They don't want to hold a commission of inquiry into the 2020 general and regional election. I saw with my own eyes members of the public who were unauthorized to be in GCOM, walking through offices. The video evidence is out there. I'm looking back for it, picking up papers, picking up flash drives and different stuff in that office setting there. When they breach that office there, that issue there needs investigation.
That is true.
What transpired? So the point is, we have our own January 6th to deal with, and we got to confront it. Truth and reconciliation. We got to own what happened there, and lots of that, if not all of it, was instigated by the PPP.
Correct. Well, I see. I think when it comes to what transpired during the 2020 elections and thereafter at the front of the recount and all that, that's something that Sharon and I can speak on very acutely, because we were both there. We both saw with our own eyes, and we were all in it when it comes to making sure that persons understand very, very keenly the facts that was presented to us during that period of time.
As a matter of fact, I know a lot of you don't make the connection, but I was out here with Randy and Christopher since during the election with the recount.
Yeah.
And I ain't gone back in yet.
True, very true.
We still out here.
Very true.
During the only move from the inside the recount center now
to outside.
To sit at the table. But we're still out here fighting.
Yep, every single day.
Still out here fighting. Great.
Making sure that we we bring you the credible information 100%. But on the regional front, I know that Charlotte is more acutely aware of what is going on this
Oh,
front
yes.
with Trinidad.
So it seems like the Attorney General is having a bad time because this is Trinidad Attorney General.
I think it's the office
right?
for real.
They have a big scandal with the airport, the Piarco airport, a contract that was given out and so on. That has actually ended up in a Miami court because of the nature of that case. And the Attorney General has been disqualified by the court from making an appearance in that matter in Miami. And so the Trinidad Bar Association now says they're going to probe this disqualification. Why can't he, appear and practice in this court? Right? So that is the challenge there. Right? So a lot of things happening with our attorney generals, and from William Barr in the US to this gentleman here, the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago. That's how it's going down on that front. And again, the Trinidad Law Association says it's going to probe the Attorney General's disqualification from being able to have a saying in this matter in this US court. Locus standi, I think is what you call it, having a standing in the matter, and why he was disqualified. Of course, they want to get to the bottom of it. And there've been lots of calls. There've been lots of calls from the people in Trinidad that he should step down. Yep, that's what's happening on that front.
Yes, and we have a video for you coming out of Jamaica. Quite
on this story.
On this story, we have a bank robbery
gone wrong,
like gone bad in Jamaica.
Gone bad,
as they put it there. Guys, this is quite interesting, and I want you to take a look at the video and let us come back there.
Bank robbery gone bad.
Now to the story of a bank robbery gone wrong and how the day was saved by a man police say is of unsound mind. Kirk Wright has details.
The moment masked robbers stormed inside the PC Bank in Springmount, St. James Friday. All armed, they were seen making several attempts to break the glass to gain access to the cash at the financial institution. But attempt after attempt, they failed. According to the recording from the CCTV footage, this was taking place just a minute before 11 o'clock. Thankfully, there were no customers inside. This is the moment when the men arrived at the location. The heavily tinted vehicle which they were traveling in drove onto the compound. Not long after, a female security guard exited the building. In the blink of an eye, she was ambushed, then physically assaulted, then dragged. She was robbed of her cellular phone. In total, there were 5 men. Suddenly, the one carrying the high-powered weapon emerged firing gunshots. He was responding to what he thought was an attack. He then made a hasty retreat. The others followed. We were told that they were reacting to the sound of gunshots being fired, and a man they thought was armed with a high-powered weapon. But here he is, the man who scared the robbers away. Turns out he didn't have a gun. According to the police reports, he pretended he did with a piece of hose he was holding. So what about the sounds of gunshots? Well, they came from his mouth. The police say the man is of unsound mind and is well known in the area. It's unclear how many staff members were inside the bank during the episode, but those present, including the security guard, were left shaken. They were saved by an unlikely hero. Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
The hand of a
Rat-a-tat-a-tat-a. God, oh come. I don't have the energy to laugh. You don't come, he said, rat-a-tat-a-tat-a.
Different in Jamaica, That's all.
All you need is a hose.
No way, couldn't make it up if you tried.
Always, all you need is a hose. But this is seriously.
That's as serious as it is, guys. It's not a joke.
You see these done stugs?
We're taking this piece of reporting directly off of TV Jamaica and Primetime News there on TVJ.
You see these done stugs?
Imagine you with a high-barrel rifle, they're robbing a bank, and a man with a piece of hose
Running you.
running you out.
Selena, how you doing? Good morning. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat.
Oh,
No, you
goodness.
gotta get inventive.
Well, on a serious note, that was as you can see, the security guard being dragged and all of that.
Yeah, so sad
very
about that.
serious,
Sad
very
about that.
serious incident there. But
No, no, traumatized.
but the mighty hand of God, right?
Yeah.
God comes in mysterious ways. Yep.
A hose.
A
you know.
hose and his voice.
And it's a hose and your voice.
Right.
A man at Brickdown police station, he had a wire, a lighter and a sponge.
Like, it's different.
Man's got a hose. I think you can do a lot of damage with, you don't need much. You don't need much. Wire, lighter and a sponge. Man got a little hose coming through. Then by said,
Rudy Hines says, George and Sherrod, I have a challenge to the FYI family for fundraising Friday. Everyone log in, pay $5 US for 1,000 Guyana dollars for credible information.
I with you. Welcome, folks. Twitter. Let's move on. Got a hose, boy. Got a hose.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's a song. It is what it is.
That's how the man run, though.
with his high power.
They think they bad, boy.
Until badness reaches them.
You see these done slugs out there. See these done slugs?
You need to make that song, Sharon.
I saw a lot of things. I saw a lot of things early in my life. And I conclude, you know what? I got to read, I got to read the book. Life was too rough. I got to read the book.
5 men and a machine gun. 1 man and a piece of hose.
But that's not how the PP got us. The PP got a hose and we run it, Rat-a-tat-tat-tat. Oh, we different as a Caribbean people. You want to see the definition for Dunstug? That's it. Put away the dictionary. That's Dunstugs for you. Them men fire a shot at them, but
not one shot.
Them men pick up the rifles and run by. What kind of bad boys is them? They remind me of moderation. When 100 shot, it starts releasing shots. Bad boy run to the airport, boy.
Oh.
He's from Jamaica, What kind of bad men Jamaica about? You got them mad men running them.
With the hose.
When a man really hear 100 shot, he ain't believe it. He backpedal. The man said, the man says, King run so fast. He run with all them dots in the clothes. All them dots in the coat.
Reports are that he ran out of his shoes.
All them dots.
His sneakers were left behind.
Skeng ain't ready for me. Skeng here with Guyana. Right? He ain't ready for me.
We come online and we try to tell people how bad it is. Like we come and we try to tell people what's going on.
It's real bad. It's real bad.
But guys, that's not fake news. That you just saw. It's not fake news at all.
Yeah.
My goodness, it's as real can be. That's just what happened. 5 men went to rob the bank there in Jamaica. One with a high-powered rifle, and a man of unsound mind.
But like Jamaican men is just bad boys in talk and in music. In music.
Yes.
Molly got a pop. 100. When them boys at National Park, we go look back and laugh now. Release the 100 strap. Oh Lord. Be moderation. We wear moderation. Can run by. Run right to the airport. Gone.
Got you got Ben left to Ben said he's banned.
Yeah. I think he asked Ben for ban. He shame to come back. He said, Ben, ban me now. I beg you. I want to see your face. Too shame for come back. Too shame.
Oh goodness.
Right? These them people that fire and they say, hold my shot. Hold me back. Joetta, let's move on, please. I beg you. I need to plug my instrument in because what else do we have?
I see. Well, as I'm seeing it there, you see,
you got things?
I'm like that.
Yes,
I'm very
things.
efficient.
You got your things.
I'm efficient.
All right, moving there now.
Yes. We're looking at, as it says, this morning when we were touching on the morning papers, I told you guys that we were going to be looking at that the top cop is saying that he's unaware of the police trailing Norton, and this is very particularly interesting because of the fact.
Very much so.
It's particularly interesting because the police on the ground
Yeah.
that were trailing Mr. Norton, they said they were under instructions.
Yeah.
To trail him.
Whose
what he
instruction?
said.
I think we
So
missed
now
that
the
point.
question is there. You know, whose instruction
It's unacceptable.
that were they
It's
working on
unacceptable.
them?
It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
And then Higgins says he will inquire now. It's unacceptable. We heard from the fellas themselves. I don't see two policemen just picking up and saying, no, let me trail Mr. Norton, leader of the opposition member of parliament, right, for no good reason. And they intimated they were on instructions. It is unacceptable. You know, this is the same nonsense that happened till this day. We don't know who sent this SWAT team to kill.
Yeah.
Or in Boston.
It speaks of a very large problem because it is not, nobody can be resting well. If police officers said in no uncertain terminology, very clear, that they were under instructions to trail Mr. Norton, and then the top cop is now saying that he is unaware of this. So who is really in charge of the police
like it's
force?
A rogue police force, Rita.
Yeah, so who is really in
Like
charge
it's a
of the
rogue
police force?
force.
Yeah, it's not something for anybody to be comfortable with. Because we see the top cop out there, you know, we've been speaking about it. He's been on the go. He's getting more media attention than a lot of the government ministers and all of that. And now he is saying that basically that the instruction that these police were talking about, he has no idea.
Yeah, he said he will inquire.
Yeah, he says it's going to be inquire. So
who leading the police force?
Very serious matter.
Who
for
is
him to
leading
look
the
at.
police force? And it's on the day Mr. Norton was visiting the family of Quindon Bacchus.
Yeah.
We're yet to hear who orchestrated that sting operation or whatever you want to call it. Who orchestrated that? We don't know. It's like a rogue force. Anybody could just pick up and do anything they want to do.
Yeah, I had begged the question as to if these police are on the instructions of persons external to the managerial structure of the force. You know, that's the first question that is in my mind, and I definitely want to see the results of the investigation that the top cop says he's going to launch into this matter. I don't want to hear that it's going to be an investigation. I want to hear who exactly issued the instructions.
Exactly.
That's what I want to know.
Unacceptable. Yep. It's two policemen do not pick up themselves and just go trailing people. And I say, if they are trailing you, your phone tapped as well. Yeah. Your phone tapped as well. Right? This is the police state.
Well, I don't know about anybody else, but if person tapped my phone, I apologize for all the frustration that they have to endure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
My phone is hard. I'm the most difficult, you know. I think people would be cussing up to go through my conversations.
Aye. We're in a bad place. It's unacceptable. And hopefully we know, because sometimes they don't ever come back and say X is Y.
No, but that's my point. That is my point, right? You cannot come and say, it cannot be headlined in the news, and we're seeing it big on the front page. Top cop says, unaware of the police trailing Norton, will inquire. That this does not make the front page, and you just leave it as that. No. These officers, these specific officers, they are employees of the force.
Yes.
They fall under the command.
Yes.
He is in charge of them.
Yes.
And it cannot be no way accepted by the public that you will not get a response to say, oh, after I had inquired, this is what was said, for clarity so everyone can move on. Because it's not like if you're saying that, oh, well, these persons are not employed by the Guyana police. Well, that would be another case altogether. But that's not what's being said. It's being said that he didn't give the instruction. The persons are there saying that he did. Sit them down and ask them who.
Yeah.
And because they are being paid, taxpayers' dollars pay these people, you know, and they are under his command. So he has to command the respect of these folks.
It's just like the Orange Boston instance where we kept asking the top brass in the police force, who issued this go ahead for this operation? And nobody don't know. Till this day, we hear a name who issued this task force, these elite guys to go after Orange Boston. Till they no, we don't know. It's like a rogue police force. If the commissioner of police don't know what happened in your own house, and this is how you want to commend yourself to this country for the top job.
Yeah.
You will inquire. You know, I won't think till, you know, days later you have to go and inquire.
He should know by now. It should be a phone call away.
Yes.
A phone call away.
Correct,
These
is
those
right.
persons will still be employed.
Correct, is right.
If you can get to the bottom of who sent them, they worked on their own conviction. you know.
Unacceptable.
Whatever it is, you know, the police force
Unacceptable.
should have guidelines for how those persons operate and all of that.
Yeah.
And I believe that it is. You know, I try my best to just craft my words how it needs to be crafted when it comes to these particular matters. And I know for certain when it comes to the top cop, he needs to show to the general public at this point that he is in control of the Guyana police force and no one else is overriding his authority, to say the least. So he needs to come to the public and to ascertain that, yes, I know, I understand, and nothing is happening beneath me that I cannot address.
We are the up and up.
That situation. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Let me go down the road.
Yeah. It's a 19-year-old, you know, guys, you know that there was this accident at Pleasance, and we've been saying for time and time again, we ask persons to be very careful as to how they are driving and all of that. And we know that there was this accident with 19-year-old Jason Prince, and sad to report that he has died after 1 week after the accident. 1 week at a city hospital. 19-year-old Jason Prince has succumbed to his injuries, and this is something, you know, we give our sincere condolences to his family, and we continue to beg you to be careful on the roadways. It's not something that we can continue.
And motorists, you know, Jason was attempting to cross the road according to the report, and he was struck by a motorcyclist. The motorcyclist, I think, sustained a broken arm, and it was worse for Jason Prince. And now he's met his demise in this way at a city hospital. And as we just said, thoughts and prayers to his family.
Yes, and we had reported also sometime last ago about the cook that was raped, robbed, and murdered in the interior. The cook that was raped, robbed, and murdered.
Miriam Edwards.
Yep. And she was from Letem, guys. And today as being reported in the news today, the Pope Knocker has been charged. The Pope Knocker has been charged there with her murder, you know. And it says, I just want to give the name Kieran Hope, 25 years old, a Pope Knocker of Buxton, East Coast, Demerara, was charged with the murder of Marion Edwards and remanded to prison on Tuesday. Right?
Sad.
So we hope justice is going to have its course there, and that
let it prevail.
Yep, the person responsible for her death would be paying for that through the system as is.
Correct is right. Is right. And you know, we just came out of an election over the weekend, the Alliance for Change, and I felt a little proud when I saw a letter in the newspapers this morning. I felt a little proud. And that's our What He Said segment. This is GHK Lal writing in Santa Cruz, and I'm thinking some of the daily newspapers as well. And GHK Lal says that AFC's election set a good example. I'm very proud here.
Wow.
Because we did some work and made sure that we didn't have too much of a setback, too many setbacks. Right? And we wanted precisely this. We didn't want anybody coming out of it feeling disenfranchised, feeling you know, anything, any sleight of hand or so on. So here's GKH Lal in Santa Cruz this morning saying, again, that the AFC elections set a good example. As I consider all this, I think that what the AFC did was next to the impossible, giving the rolling context of Guyana. And I speak not only towards the resulting choices for leaders, but the composition of its leadership slate. In so doing, the party has set an example, showed others how to do so. The kind of innards demanded. We had the guts.
Correct.
To make the tough choices.
And I have to say myself that I'm particularly proud of the way in which the national conference altogether was held, and the manner in which everything was done, and everyone was particularly happy about it. Questions asked were answered and given responses to. And I think that is we always speak about the liberal democracy that encapsulates the Alliance for Change altogether. And this is something that we saw transpired there Saturday, 11th of June. And I have to thank GHK Lal for the recognition.
And it's kind words. And it's kind words. What else we got, folks? The big issue very quickly. Guys, Suko, my Lord. There was a meeting yesterday.
Eulogy.
Yeah, there was a meeting yesterday with the president and the leadership of Gaisuko, senior management and so on. And he was kind of reading the right act, Judah. He was kind of reading the right act. And then,
Bluffing the board.
I was about to say, a moment, too late. He too late with that. So it was like a funeral and not a management meeting,
He's a little different.
And go ahead, Judah.
No, I was going to say, I think it's at this point in time, it has become somewhat as an insult to the intelligence of Guyanese people altogether when you try to drag on this issue and to pretend that you are working towards solution to something that does not make any sense at all at the economic level, doesn't make sense for the personnel, the employees there.
Correct.
I often speak about the fact that Gaisuku, in any thought and thinking about it being the moving up in the industrialized version, the mechanization altogether, that would actually yield a better position for it to be having less overhead expenses altogether, and put a capacity higher than it has currently. Any action to that level would result in the labor intensiveness going down. So all the persons that they have promised to have employed and all of those things, they would not be able to meet that because the labor intensiveness, I try not to get into the complexity of it, but the labor intensiveness is going to be reduced significantly the more the company is mechanized. So you can't gather persons together there and talk about, you go in and you have to do what you have to do and you have to change and structure and all of that nonsense if you're not taking into consideration exactly what the facts are before you. So I really don't have much patience for the nonsense conversation at this point in time.
Yeah. And this meeting, folks, stemmed from some reporting that we did at our end, because we told you that for this first crop they had quite recently, some numbers came out. This is their numbers. IFLOT was supposed to produce 4,206 metric tons of sugar. It produced 66.
Yeah.
Albion Estate was supposed to produce 9,078 metric tons. They produced 7,488. The overall target for the forest crop was 20,261, but they only managed 13,076. So there are a lot of problems. They operated at a big loss. That's a big loss. And I want to turn to some of the numbers. Judy loves the numbers, that we poured into Gaisuko. They've always talked about, let's start here. They've always talked about this 7,000 that we find from the estate. Well, the figure shows not 7,000. Right size in the industry, Wales, East Demerara, LBI, and more, Rose Hall and Skellet, because we know sugar was going nowhere. Right size in the industry, 5,160 persons were let go, retrained, retooled for the broader economy.
I think this is something that you need to distribute.
Right.
So these specific numbers are things that you need to send out.
Right.
You need to send out these specific numbers because
Correct.
it is a correct number. And I know that the PPP propaganda machinery always goes with a number of 7,000 plus, and they never waver from that number, which is a complete lie.
Correct.
It's disinformation altogether. But we need to very much speak to these specific matters. And I have to say that there appears to be a major disconnect into the thinking of Irfan Ali as compared to Bara Jagdeo. And I don't think Irfan Ali has been following very acutely what Bara Jagdeo has been saying, especially when it pertains to the persons, those sugar workers altogether. You would remember, everyone out there would remember, we've been following the news, we've been bringing it to you, we've been having these discussions. Bara Jagdeo went and he was advising the cane cutters to go out there to find other jobs.
Yeah.
He was there advising them to find other jobs. But now we have Irfan Ali coming back to try to make it sound as though, there is hope. Do not insult the intelligence of Guyanese people to give them false hope.
You got to pick up the pace.
Don't do that. I think that this issue is bigger than I think a lot of persons look at it, because many of us, the majority of us here, even on the platform joining, are not into that sector. You're not those families that are suffering because they are holding on to a hope of something that is not going to become a reality.
And let's show
Right?
let's show you too, for the amount of money the administration has poured into sugar to be getting 66 tons from IFLOT.
Yeah.
Where we going? 66 tons. Soon as the regime came in, right? They give sugar workers what they call the weekly production incentive. In March of 2021, April 2021, the Burby sugar workers strike. Right? Jack New stepped in and gave them $200 million. Burby sugar workers strike, $200 million he gave them. And we don't have the figures for all of them, 250,000 and so on that they gave out recently. So this is just what they've given them, let's say up to February of this year. Right? Albion sugar workers strike in September 2021, they get money too. October 2021, Jaguar announces to Skeldon that they given them $250,000 each. That's just the beginning, you know. And you know we've had budgets too, Drita. Gaisuko since September 2020 got $4 billion out of that budget. Sorry, $5 billion out of that budget. By December of that year, 2020, they got another $4 billion. This is the Gaisuko that's producing 66 tons at IFLOT. $4 billion they got that December. 2021, February, they got $2 billion. By June 2021, they got another $1.5 billion. By December of 2021, they got another $5.1 billion. And they got IFLOT producing 66 tons of sugar only. And then this was February of this year. February, March of this year. Out of that, you know the figure on the tip of your hand. That big budget we had. Biggest budget ever.
$552.9 billion.
$552.9 billion. They got $6 billion out of that. And IFLOT producing 66 tons of sugar. Could you imagine if this money went to some other areas in the economy?
Yeah, and the vast majority of the money does not go towards the actual workers and getting them covered. I have an issue with the pretentiousness of the administration to actually to the people. But let us not use the nice sugarcoated word, the lies that they're telling to the people, and false hope that they're giving to the folks there, the cane cutters and so forth, that they're going to make sure that they are there cutting cane. And I think even if that was the case, I see it as blatantly disrespectful in a country that is oil rich. You're telling people that you are trying to sustain their livelihood as cane cutters, you know? That is a big promise and a dream that you are presenting to the people.
And it's not that they're just it's not just that there are other jobs available. It's the fact that sugar will never have the kind of supremacy it had in the past.
No.
It just will not. The world just is not in that direction with sugar. And as a matter of fact, finally on this issue, I want to reflect on what Alan Gouldsharan said about failed projects in this country. Incidentally, nearly all of them is on the PPP. Right? You got CGIA, right? The Teddy Jagan International Airport since 2011. That cash cow going, right? We're about to bring it to a close. They said they could close out the contract faster, you know, get the guys to finish up quicker and so on. They just give them another extension, but 3 or 4 extensions since 2020 when they came in. Same folks. And then you got the fiber optic cable. How could we forget this, Alexi Ramatars?
I would never.
And the fiber optic cable. But more interesting, and in keeping with the discussion of the Gaisuko, is the Skeldon Sugar Factory that accountant extraordinaire Alan Gouldsharan said was a failed project. The modernization of Skeldon, $200 million went into that project, right? And Skeldon probably producing 66 tons of sugar too, if so much. Billions upon billions we're throwing into that sector. But what is the return? 66,000 tons. You know, it's like your fun. Right? When we talk about Mayor, you know, I saw Irfan up there and he's trying so much of this, something miracles. And Mayor Martin so effortlessly can talk about these broad issues. That's leadership and vision. Right? Irfan got cars at the disposal, sirens, house, this, everything to succeed, but he producing 66 tons. Right? Mayor Martley, she did right up there. Meeting the quota. Right? Meeting the quota. And where we there? We got Irfan.
We have, and this is more of a people interest for me. And let me tell you that I have seen, and a lot of you have not seen, but I've seen firsthand how cane cutters work, the lives that they live. These are poor people, you know. These are poor people, and they need representation. There's a lot of times, a lot of people, there's this saying that I always go back to, is people you don't know that you're missing something if you never had it. right? And we sometimes there is a system of generations of persons, cane cutters. Grandfather cut cane, father cut cane, son cutting cane, and all of that. And I say that there must be a better life and better opportunities presented to these people so that they can elevate their standard of living, so that they will not be having to go and toiled in that level of discomfort for $1 on a daily basis. So when it comes to that sector, that industry altogether, I'm particularly interested in the working conditions and all of that of the folks living there and their standard of living. So I take a different standpoint altogether on it. You cannot tell me today, 2022, in an oil-rich country, that is a dream and a promise that you want to hold up for those people. No, you can't say that to me. It is unacceptable at all points. The money being bailed into it is not benefiting those people. It is not okay to just keep people alive. Just being kept alive is not being given an opportunity to truly live. And that is what you're seeing transpiring there. And this is our duty, and it is my duty to make sure that we look at a different direction for these people.
The different slant I took on it is that if you want cut cane, that's your business. If that's how you see yourself cutting cane, I'm saying it. That's what I'm saying. If you want cut cane, that's your business.
Yes.
The point I would like to make is that we can't hold back a whole country because, for instance, for the labor intensiveness that is cutting cane, you can mechanize and produce sugar far cheaper. And because you want to hold on to a base, you're going this route of employing people to do work that with mechanization, proper mechanization, you could get it done faster. That is number one. And number two is that sugar is produced now, better quality sugar, at cheaper rates internationally. So again, we refer back to number one, right? You're holding a whole industry up. When really and truly, that is not where the world market is with sugar.
Because Sharon, listen, and you're right, but you're right on the ball with that. But there's one important aspect to understand is that the only reason that these people are this diehard support base is because they keep them at a certain level of exposure altogether, and that is my issue, because I know that they know that once these persons are given the opportunity to have this balanced level playing field, that they will no longer be there just begging for a carrot at the end of the day, and so you can just dangle it in front of them and this hope and all of that. They know that the only way that they can keep those persons in check, as they do all the time, is for them to keep feeding them this hope and to keep them at this level. But I say, like I always say, that they are entitled to equitable opportunities as well, to choose differences. They must be afforded options as well. And their options will inevitably lead to them having more options when it comes to who they support politically and all of that. So I have a very different, I know the psychological warfare that is played by the PPP administration, and I do not pretend to not know it. And because of that, I always go to how they intend to suppress and to keep persons begging. You just keep them alive so that they will have enough life to keep you in power, but not have enough strength to make sure that they can challenge you. So I have that.
Just enough to keep you hanging on. Just enough.
Very sad,
just
very
enough
sad.
to keep you hanging on. That's what I was. I think that's our time today.
That's our time. That's our time.
That's our time. That's our time.
Yep.
Bang bing, bang ping. And that's our time.
That's our time, guys. The gunshots.
Yeah?
The gunshots.
I can't make it this one.
As the guy did in
I gotta get the hose. Gotta get the hose.
Yes, you do.
Gotta get the hose. Good to see you folks. Marilyn Lorimer and Dan Graves Andy, Gwyneth Anderson and Anna Phillips. Good to see you. Glenford Gordon, Yvonne Ramasar. Good to have you folks. Sharon Alfonso Evans. Trust you, a great Sharon. I see Samoa Williams is here as well. Guys, do share the program. Share. Don't just come and consume it, you gone. Right? Share, tip the waiter, share, smash the emoji, smash the emoji button. Partner with us as well, folks. Really, can you go to us?
Yes,
Partner with we.
please make sure that you partner
Happy
with us.
boy.
We have several platforms available. We have MoneyGram, we have Western Union, we have Zelle, we have Cash App, we have PayPal, we have our local Cash App, but it's MMG here.
The
Guys,
PRO
make
fashion.
make sure that you do your part to come on board to make sure that we can continue this program. If you see us missing a day or two, know that you have not been doing your part. So make sure that you do our part so that we can stay online. If you have any difficulties and you need guidance, please make sure to contact us on the WhatsApp number 6276963. I will be sure to get right back to you.
Yep. That's the program. Donna, Roy, Yvonne, I see you there, and Candy, Gwyneth, Glenford, Deborah, Donna. Good to see you guys. Anne-Marie Roberts, how are you doing? Good to see you folks. Pace and power. Have a fantastic rest of the morning. Anna Phillips, we love back to you.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
We love back to you. And Anna says, we love you guys. We love back to you. We love back to you. Yeah, we love back to you. Good to see you.
Like my daughter, she was just learning to talk.
We love back to you. Osman Hodge, good to see you. All you guys, stay safe.
Have a wonderful day, guys. It has been a pleasure. Be sure to join us podcast at 12 and then this evening in the ring at 8 p.m. See you soon.
Yep. See you guys soon. Stay safe.
Bye.